everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. If you are brand new here and this is the first time you've clicked onto this channel, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, obviously welcome too. Today our beautiful reading is What is Your Soul's Purpose? We'll be going into soul mission, your gifts, your powers, your uniqueness. And for this, we will be channeling the goddess Luna, the Roman goddess of the moon, the Roman moon goddess. So she is associated with femininity, creativity, and luck. Silver and white are her colors, and moonstone too, associated with the moon. And her symbols are specifically the number 13. Number 13's always been particularly lucky for me. Not for everyone, but I love the number 13. I'm actually born on the 13th, July 13th as a matter, so it's going to be tomorrow. So this in essence is kind of a birthday reading. So we will be checking in with our beautiful moon goddess today and getting you some blueprint answers. So this is very exciting. I want to give a really big shout out to everybody. When I requested or put out some information out there for the community page and asked you guys for just a little bit of feedback about what you wanted to hear from and what kind of readings you wanted. I was completely overwhelmed in a wonderful way, in a really, really good way. How many responses. And so this reading today is in response to your responses. I chose 2 of them. A couple of you said that you love the divine feminine and the goddess. Beautiful reading. So we're doing the Roman goddess today, Luna, and then somebody actually requested the blueprint channeling, messages of the specifics breakdown of each blueprints. And of course these are general readings, but we'll get as specific as we can. So I can't remember who was who because there was so many different beautiful suggestions, and I've taken them all into consideration and I will be working through them. I said that initially when I put up the post, I said I would just be, for the next one, but I will take everybody's beautiful suggestions to heart, and I will be working through them and integrating them into the channel because they were all absolutely amazing and I really, really appreciate it. So shout out to everybody who put in their 2 cents worth, which is absolutely amazing in the community page. And thank you specifically to those who came up with this idea today, because it is not mine. And for those of you who are brand new or have not been here for too long, we always have a magic candle going on for extra healing and light and activation, and that will be going through all the piles too. So that's a little extra vavum for you. So let's get right into your readings. We have 3 piles as usual. The first pile has this beautiful. Here we have the Age of Light. So let's see if it's a little bit of a glare, but that's fine. Just really want you to concentrate on the title, Age of Light, and the energy of the card here. So that is pile 1. And then pile 2 says no. And we've got this. And when I picked up this card, the no, pertaining the way that I got a hit on this, and of course you need to do what you need to do and figure out what it means for you. But the no for me very firmly meant that to stay in the present moment, not that whatever you want won't happen or anything like that, but staying in the present moment, because your beautiful life is unfolding and it can go in any different direction. So this is sort of this beautiful sort of manifestation. Anything can happen. Stay open to all of it. So that's for pile 2. That's what I got on there. And we'll be going more into these cards, of course, when we get into the reading. And pile 3 is protection. And that is your image. So there may be different reasons why you chose a pile, the energy of it, the colors of it, the image, the wording of it. However you choose it, of course, is very personal to you. So we're going to take in a large breath at this point. Hold for a second and really let go of anything that isn't working. At least in this moment, you can pick it up. Whatever you need to do right after these readings, the more in line you are with your own intuition, the more these readings are going to resonate. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, do a little meditation, whatever you need to do to come back to you, we will be here afterwards, and the timestamps, as always, are down below. Do what you need to do to get back to you for these readings to really hit home. All right, let's go ahead and move these out of here for now. So, if you chose pile 1, then we are channeling the Roman goddess, the Roman moon goddess, Luna today. We've got our beautiful moon here, and we just had, even though these are timeless readings, we just had our beautiful new moon in Cancer. So today we'll be looking into what is your soul's blueprint. We'll also be looking into your soul's mission, your gifts, your powers, your uniqueness, and so if you chose pile 1, this is your card. It's a little bit washed out, but hopefully you can see it. The Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. So this is not your first rodeo, pile 1, for your soul's messages here. So let's get right into your readings. We do have a couple of oracle cards here, and then we have oracle cards and our beautiful tarot on the side to get you some more information as we move in to your readings. So let's get going. All right, so you have Messenger. Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance, gorgeousness. Share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution and expression. It's a beautiful essence there. And then star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission and activation, gorgeousness. So the first thing that we have here, pile 1, is that you guys have come here, again, not your first rodeo. In fact, you've been training for this for many, many lifetimes. And it is not a coincidence for anyone to be on this timeline in this world right now, because we all knew that there was going, on some level, we knew that the world was going to transition and we were going to go through this sort of giant wake up that we are. I know it feels a little chaotic at times, and that's totally fine. That's just the way it needs to be, and that's the way it looks. But there is a huge transformation going on, and you decided to come down at this time. Now, for your soul mission, feels as though your soul mission, for the most part, is to be a messenger of light. And we'll get into the specifics of how you bring that in. But yet, star bathing, crystal consciousness, coming down with this knowledge of truth. Now, it feels as though for a lot of you, this knowledge of truth is sort of open-ended. We're seeing in the world now that there's many different versions of the truth, and lots of different things happening, lots of different opinions coming out there, and some of it is sort of concentrating on the 3D version of the world, which is, how we work through things to be able to see them in their sort of in this visible form. The veil has lifted, and we're being exposed to pretty much everything. Most of this stuff, for the most part, we knew what was going on, maybe not to the degree, but there's being light shined on the planet in such a way that a lot of the darkness can't really hide anymore. Now, some are concentrating on the darkness in order to really sort of expose it and pull it out. And that's perfectly fine for them. That's concentrating on the old in order to, again, to really, really expose it, to bring it out. This is not feeling as though this is what you're here to do. You're here to really usher in the next movement, the moving on, the light activation, and to stay in the light. And that's not to say that you're not seeing any of the darkness, but it's not to concentrate on the old 3D paradigms anymore. Again, some people are really doing that just to really bring them into the forefront. But of course, whatever we concentrate on persists. So you're here to bring the light, to share the light, and to bring light into existence, and also to culminate and to bring into full circle aspects of past life before, as we have here, come out of the cave, persecution and expression. In many different lifetimes, it feels as though, not just in one, but in many different lifetimes, you may have been persecuted for standing in the light, or having a sort of, not even a unique point of view, but standing in your ground, and really having this beautiful knowledge that you have, and not settling for sort of the norm of the time. So this may have come in with you in this lifetime, this understanding, and it may have caused you to sort of come out of the world just a little bit and forge your own sense of truth, sort of on the sidelines, the external looking in. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. In fact, it was a way for you to get strong and get clear about who it is that you are, and pretty much who it is that you're not. See, for a lot of you, you're so open. You take in a lot of beautiful energy, and we've had a lot of these readings with this type of starseed coming in, where you take in so much energy. And you take in so much beauty from everybody else and everybody else's opinion, which is absolutely wonderful, but it can be kind of overwhelming. So in this lifetime, being able to be sort of working on your own terms, in your own kind of cave, one way or another. Some of you are loners, or you have this very sort of really pronounced sense of self, but not everybody else sees it. So this is a beautiful time for you to come out of your cave and be able to really understand who it is that you are, and moving into the sort of sphere of light and holding light for others. A lot of people are, it's suggested that everybody here is a starseed and has incarnated from other planets one way or another. And, you know, regardless of where we are in this world, or whatever we believe in human form, everybody is from different star systems, whether they've woken up to it or not. So you've woken up to this. This is what you know. Now you're a very old soul, so you have many different star systems going on. I know there's a lot of people that have this equation with one particular star system. You know, I'm definitely from here, I'm this, that, and the other, and that's wonderful if that's, you know, that's your opinion. But the truth of the matter is that you're such an old soul that you've been through probably many star systems, and maybe in this lifetime this is the star system that's helping you through. That's absolutely fine. But we're an amalgam of many different star systems. We've been through many different and learned all of the light codes through all of them. So in this lifetime for you, you hold all of those light codes and bringing them into existence. But this is specifically what you're here to do is actually a really wonderful thing. I think it's really needed in this lifetime. And no disrespect to anybody out there, but there's a lot of this stuff that's going in with being obsessed with 5D and kind of not being grounded, and you know, and starseeds, and getting caught up in the labels, and then channeling off and sort of channeling through the ego, and not necessarily getting things wrong. All of the information is wonderful, but sort of going off and veering off in different directions, which can be a good thing, but it's bringing all the energy back into the 3D. You're here, what you're here to do is activate those light codes and keep those light codes open, and really understand that light is coming in from everywhere, and just concentrating on the light body as we move forward, and not really being obsessed with these labels, and not really being obsessed with the ascension process, where we get caught up in the ascension process and we're not enjoying our life in 3D, and being obsessed with sort of the 5D and kind of missing out on things. And, you know, on the most extreme level, what we're seeing here is, you know, people looking down on other people that aren't woke because they don't get it. And this, so we're getting this sort of judgmental thing. And again, it happens. It's not a big deal. Everybody has their own version of spirituality and how it is, but there's some ungrounded stuff going on out there. And it's really nice to have somebody who's just open to it all, and just understanding that the idea is that we're bringing in the 5D to exist and integrate within the 3D and elevating the 3D life form. We're not activating into the 5D and looking down on the 3D in this lifetime. We're actually elevating the 3D in this lifetime. So concentrating on the light and understanding that we're here to have a human experience in the 3D, but we can live 5D in the 3D. If we ascend, and we all do, and I've said this on this channel, when we ascend, we all will. It's called death. We move from one incarnation to the next. So we will all ascend in this lifetime, but this obsession with ascending, whereby we're looking down on other people because we're not there, and we have one specific way of seeing it, and if other people don't see it that way, then they're not woke. And there's a lot of different ways of people are doing it, because there's a little bit of misunderstanding with moving forward. There's a lot of consciousness going on that's being integrated through the ego and filtering through the ego. So it's beautiful that you've come into this lifetime to understand that labels can be really wonderful. And I'm a firm believer of this. If you don't know who you are, and then you have a label that really sums you up, absolutely take it upon yourself, because within that label you can find out who you are, and that's really important. I've seen so many starseeds in this lifetime really not understand that they were starseeds and get so confused, and like some of them have not lasted, unfortunately, on this earthly plane. They've taken their own lives, and feel as though if they really understood what was going on and really and just had somebody reach out to them, and they really understood that they were starseeds and understood aspects of living as a starseed, maybe they would have not seen the world as hopeless as they did. So my heart goes out to them, and I totally understand. And that can be part of your activation to moving into that starseed understanding of who you are. Now, after, in my opinion, after you move to the starseed understanding of who you are, keep ascending into that label doesn't need to make sense. After you've ascended to a certain point, you can let go of those labels. We all know that everybody's a starseed. We all know all of this, and you can get all this information from many different star systems, but you kind of move beyond the labels. But it is important to bring labels to you. I don't want to say that, you shouldn't live under these labels and all of this stuff. You need to do whatever you need to do, but living under the labels can be really, really helpful, especially in the 3D world. So what you're doing is moving beyond labels, and you're teaching everybody by standing in your own energy to move beyond labels, which is absolutely wonderful. And holding that light body and holding those messages for everybody and bringing that message to the world. And also, because you've had that fear of persecution, a lot of you, it could be that you didn't really want to share your voice, or you weren't sure about having to share your voice, or because you have that beautiful truth that's going on, which is like a 360 version of the truth that includes everybody else's truth, because of course everybody else's truth is based on opinion, and it's filtered through so many different things. Even people who channel can be filtered through the ego. We're seeing a lot of that now. And that's totally fine, because again, we need to work with our shadow. We need to work with our ego. None of this is wrong or bad. It's absolutely wonderful. And I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts, we're all going to end up in the greatest place, no matter how we get there. And everybody has their choice of getting there in different ways. So the worst thing that we can do, in my full opinion, is to look down on anybody and how they are living their lives and how they are activating and living their spiritual life, because we just don't have enough information about how it's all working together. We're just not objective enough. So they're doing specific work, which is wonderful, but you're doing, you're sort of living life as your blueprint is to live life as a prism, as it were, not prism, where everything gets reflected upon you, and you be able to put out all that light into the world. So you're not choosing one circumstance over another. You're not saying this is the one way to do things. You're incorporating all of that light and bringing it all in. Now, the truth that you have is universal wisdom too, and that is definitely associated and connected definitely with the world and the universe at large. And it's not one way of doing things. It incorporates and entrusts all versions of the truth. So this is a beautiful way for you to be. And let's get you some specifics in there, because your gifts and your powers of uniqueness also. Let's put this back. in there. But for many of you, you are channelers yourself, and the way in which you channel is pretty, I mean, most people are channelers, whether they realize it or not, when they ask for help or when they're just in the world. But for you, you can just speak to guides, and you don't even have to make a special vavum about it. You know, you're just there. You can speak to guides and you can get the information. A lot of what you're here to do is to learn how to trust your own soul, and your own soul is completely connected to source. You see, a lot of what's going on now is that we've got various different connecting to source. A lot of people are talking about a lot of different things, but as we've said before, it's being filtered through the ego and a few other stuff that's coming out, and some of it's being filtered through, you know, the us versus them narrative and the darker narratives. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not 100% connected to source. Because, you know, the ego gets in there and all sorts of things sort of get in there a little bit. So you're here actually as a pure messenger. I don't like that word, pure. You're here to be completely connected to source. Now, when we're completely connected to source, we are of light. And once light is directed to darkness, everything else comes up, right? So, and there are many different ways to do it. When you're completely connected to source, all you need to do is stand in your own light, and everything else just gets exposed on its own without having to fight it, without having to go against it, without having to rise up against it, without having to resist. Of course, anything you resist persists, right? So it's a matter of just standing in the light and being completely connected to source and being a pure filter there. So that's something that you're doing in this lifetime. So when you speak, you are speaking directly from source, which is not happening to the degree that we think it's happening right now as we move forward. So it's wonderful that you're doing that. And also a lot of people are moving in completely into the light. And a lot of people, we've got a lot of different timelines going on right now. Some people are actually physically living in the 5D right now. And some people have stayed behind in the 3D, concentrating on shedding light on the 3D. And they're staying in there and bringing light to that. Again, that's their own version of things. And that is probably in their blueprint. And that's a wonderful way of doing it. But you're doing things a little bit differently. So shining the light and being completely connected to source is wonderful, because what we get is we get this unfiltered, unadulterated version of light in all things, which allows for everybody else's opinions and allows for everything that's going on. So your voice is absolutely needed in this lifetime. In a way, just to be really clear, your voice doesn't have an agenda, right? Your voice doesn't have an agenda. And that's the type of, that's the starseed, the messenger. That's the messenger that you are in this lifetime, which is absolutely wonderful and definitely needed in this lifetime. Now, your mission, as it were, is to overcome, and for some of you it's been overwhelming, is to overcome this feeling of either inadequacy or not knowing enough to stand in the light and speak your truth. In the past, when you've spoken your truth, it did not go well. And this may have happened, as we've already said, so we're just reiterating, in many different lifetimes. So there's always a little fear of repercussions. Now, in this lifetime too, there's very set ways in certain aspects of spirituality. And if you do say things, you know, people are having repercussions about it, this, that, and the other. And that's totally fine too, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So, you know, when you're looking around in particularly recently in the last 15 months, the last 2 years, you may look around and say, oh my goodness, I don't, it might actually be bringing up some essences from a past life, and that's fine. You're not saying anything against anybody else. You're just holding complete light. And sometimes when you hold complete light, you again shine on the darkness. And if people are working through their egos, they may be triggered. There's a lot of triggering going on right now. There's a lot of people who are working through trauma essences. We've had a lot of trauma in the last 15 months to various different degrees. We've had a lot of trauma. So there's a lot of people working through their trauma. So there's a lot of trauma responses right now. That's why we need to hold light and just be there for each other without judgment. It doesn't mean we need to absolutely go down these roads and absolutely commit to them, but we, you know, hopefully we can hold light for each other and just hold each other's space where everybody gets to do what they need to do and breathe through this. There's no right or wrong way to get through this life. So, but for you, holding that ground, and it's not even being critical, it's just holding that ground and deciding not to go in one way or another, but also holding that light for everybody, but having your own sort of, it's not version of the truth, it's holding the truth of light, which again is a prism and holds everybody else's truth. This has gone against you in the past, so you could have been a little bit hesitant to do that in this lifetime, and particularly now, because sometimes there's backlash within different communities, spiritual communities, about what's right and wrong and how we need to do this. And again, everybody's going through this at their own pace and doing things on their own terms. And this is the soul contracts that they have. And they get to play it out exactly how they want to without anybody judging them. So, and they're also probably doing work that just because, you know, we're not doing that work and they're doing that work, it's absolutely necessary. People on the ground doing this work with the 3D, people, you know, doing this work, and then we all come together. Again, we do not know on a macro level how this is all working out. So it would be terrible for us, you know, to say, oh, that's not the way to do it. However, you do get to say, that's not the way I want to handle this. I want to do things differently. So you're handling this from a 5D perspective, holding all the light for everybody else. It's been exhausting, but also it's been kind of lonely for you, because being fully integrated into the world, there's always been a little bit of a fear of backlash. However, you know, first of all, we can't be afraid of if we trigger people, because it's never personal, you know. And second of all, if you hold yourself completely in that light, then what you're doing is you're completely connected to source. And as if darkness is in and around you, and in whatever form, then that darkness cannot hide. So we're asking you in this lifetime to stand and really own your beautiful sense of messages and stand in your own blueprint to be this kind of messenger, because you literally cannot go wrong in this. And it's not a case of saying who's right and who's wrong. Just standing in that light and being connected so fiercely to source is absolutely wonderful for you, and allowing everybody to really lie where they are and do what they need to do. And this is something that you've been training for. Again, some people have come in to do specifics, you know, to concentrate on the 5D, to expose the ego, to expose the world, to expose the government. All of that stuff absolutely needs to be done, right? So you're here to like hold the light, and in that reflection, everybody can be seen for exactly who they are. So it really doesn't matter if anybody's triggered, because in that light, it doesn't affect you. It really doesn't. And this is a beautiful way for you to be and to have that gorgeousness. So you have the Wheel of Fortune here. Beautiful. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Absolutely. Look at that. And you have the Sun. Beautiful. Yeah, you're here to shine the light completely, and to maybe not get caught up in the specifics of us versus them, or any of these narratives that are here on earth. And again, this is important for people to do, and we thank them for doing this, because without them doing that groundwork, you know, we wouldn't be able to come together the way that we are. But you're not here to do that. You're here to connect directly to source and to hold the light, and to hold it completely for everyone to be able to do this. This is your success. If you've been having any problems with or any nervousness with being out there and showing your truth and speaking your truth, we want to remind you that your truth contains everybody else's truth. And again, don't worry about the triggering should that happen, because just shining light on that just either disposes it or brings it into the light. Don't need to worry about any of that. So we want to really be there for you if any of you have been having this nervousness about stepping into your power in any way fully. A lot of you have been working incrementally about stepping into your power, but we want to make sure. Got the goddess Luna here working with us. with fertility and creativity, working through your creativity and just standing your ground and really just holding the light. And sometimes it can be really tough because you have a really sort of unique sort of office here on earth, because sometimes and this may have happened to you as you were growing older or growing up, not older, as you were growing up, as you sort of held the light and you spoke your truth. A lot of people could sort of venom coming at you sort of thing. And then it was transposed or transformed or transmuted as you stood in your own light. But you took that personally. And that's totally understandable. As you were growing up, you took that personally as those projections came out and people started doing that. And then you started realizing that, you were able to transmute and to do that. So it could have been quite a painful existence for you. And sometimes without you even talking the truth or holding your light, people have accused you of being certain ways. And even like people have accused you of being evil or this, that, and the other. There's a lot of worry for some people growing up, for some of you. This may not be a message for all of you about your power, because people don't understand your power. They feel that you're powerful, because they don't really understand or can equate to that power. They just automatically assign it as being evil or something that they don't understand outside of themselves. And of course, it's a very human trait in this lifetime. If we do not understand, if it's the unknown, then it's evil. Instead of exploring it, we just sort of pronounce it evil. And then anybody else that explores it, the unknown, and dare we say, become an expert at it or really learn how to work with it, then they're evil. But sometimes this happened to you without you even having to open your mouth. You just had this sense of truth and honesty about you. And that can make people very, very uncomfortable. And the other thing is, I don't want to go into a whole thing about this, but, just to bring up there, people get really, really crazy about like going into the unknown and getting possessed and opening yourself up for this, that, and the other. But in my understanding of it and how I've been taught is that, there are entities. I mean, there are portals. There's Ouija boards and things like that, and there's definitely portals. They are portals one way or another. But these entities are always in and around us, no matter what. They don't need a portal to get anywhere near us. And a lot of people actually do have entities. I don't want to freak you out, but as we grow up, I mean, there's so many reasons why. The entities, the horrible reasons, abuse, that sort of thing. And, that loneliness, anger, all of that leaves people open to having attachments. And we'll just call them that instead of entities, having attachments, And that's why, I mean, we see it all the time. If you read cards and things like that, and, and people, I have this on the channel all the time, where people come at you and they damn you to hell and this, that, and the other. It's pretty much daily, and, I always hold space and light for those people because I can feel that attachment. And it's usually because of some kind of, something that's happened, it's some kind of fear. It leaves people open to attachments, and then, attachments can come in and feed off you and this, that, and the other. It's much more common than people think. Now you can release them, you can work through them, all of this stuff, once you're aware that this happens. But if anybody comes at you in this way, 9 times out of 10, there's an attachment there. And when I've actually gone into the energy of some people that have come for me one way or another, there's definitely attachments. And some of them have been really quite heavy attachments that are with the other person, and I'm not there to exercise them. I have done that in the past, but unless you physically come to me and say, I need help, will you do this for me? I'm not going to do it. Everybody has free will. So I attach onto that and I realize, oh, they have an attachment. So, if you've had this throughout your life, chances are a lot of people have had attachments, and it's not even really them doing this to you. It's the attachment. It's all this other energy. So they're not exactly free to be themselves. So it's nothing to freak you out about. It's just to remind you that even when people are triggered, it's other things that are going on. There's a myriad of different reasons why they're being triggered. It doesn't really matter why, but a lot of the reasons why you've been having this throughout your life is that, people have had attachments, and it's the attachments working out and sort of going for you one way or another. And it really doesn't matter, because None of this matters. You're here to do what it is that you're supposed to do. But that's another reason why you shouldn't take any of this personally at all if people are getting triggered. So, and there's a little bit of triggering going on in the world right now, but it's all the more reason to stand in your own beauty, because this is where your power comes from. And this is you being able to hold the light like this without agenda is not only needed, but it's what you've been trained to do. It's absolutely the forefront of your blueprint. So it's easy for you to do. And when we say easy, it's not been easy in the way that you've been projected upon, and it's dumbed down your voice. But standing in your power, and which you've been working on incrementally, is incredibly important in this lifetime for you, because it's absolutely needed as we build that bridge from sort of the old way of doing things, as everything is crumbling and we're moving into sort of the new earth. So let's get you some more information here too. So you're absolutely uniquely qualified for this specific way of standing in the world, in this power. And again, in this lifetime, you've been working toward being able to stand in that power no matter what, and stand in this truth. And again, this truth includes every other truth. So it's almost like, for some of you, just got this vision. You'll walk into a room and within like 30 seconds, people will sort of start arguing with each other, and you're wondering if you're a catalyst for this. Like, sometimes it's not like chaos. It may have seemed in your life as you were growing up that chaos was attracted to you and things just started going a little haywire when you were involved or in and around people. But because you have the light, you're shining the light in everybody else's darkness, and this caused people got confused within this, and then started blaming each other and triggering and this, that, and the other. So this is the energy that you hold. So of course you would be careful about how, when you actually came into your own power and started speaking and giving and projecting your own truth into the world, of course you're going to be nervous about it based on what's happened before. And that's before you even really included your energy or even spoke. But that's what happened before. You were moving through it. As you stand more in your power and you get grounded more into your power, that happens a little bit, but it's not going to happen as much as it did before. So it's more, the more you stand in your power and the more you speak to your own beauty and your own wisdom, which is beautiful, and it is in some ways unique because it's come in from many different lifetimes and bringing in all the preciousness and the ancient wisdom from many, many lifetimes. But the way in which you will hold it in this lifetime is to hold it in a relevant form. So it's wonderful to go back to all of the ancient ways that we used to have, and oh my goodness, wouldn't we all love that? But what you're doing is you're bringing back all that ancient wisdom, and you're sort of revamping it for this lifetime too, and allowing everybody to come in and hold space for what they want it to be also. So it's almost like a holding pattern. Giving space to everybody to be exactly who they need to be, but holding that light without having to do it in one specific way that delegates that it's only one way of doing things. So if you've had that problem in the past where you've seen how your power and your light affects people without even having to do anything, that's made you more nervous. Remember, you've been working incrementally to get into your power. The more grounded you are in your power, the more use you will be, or the more beauty you will be able to project onto this world, and the less that will happen. Again, we can't guarantee that there'll never be any triggering, but it really won't be in a personal form. It's just people needing to work through stuff. So let's see what we have here. We have the goddess Nyx here coming in. Got a lot of moon energy. So we have strength, absolutely, and the high priestess of water. So your emotionality coming in and working in groups is something that you are going to be working into. Having your soul family, having your soul beautiful family in and around you, people who are like you. And that's the thing, because you have this sort of unique blueprint, and your gifts and your powers are slightly more unique because you're holding light for absolutely everybody. And sort of materializing the universal sense of truth. It could have been, and it's very powerful, It could have been quite lonely for you. But again, so you've hidden some of that strength, and you've hidden some of those opportunities to step into that power and really just be where you are. And really what you are is a reflection. So when people are reacting, they're reacting to themselves. You're actually a mirror. You provide a reflection for other people. And when you stand in your power, a lot of people don't like what they see. So they sort of have this venomous stuff, and that's what's happened in the past. But really, you're just a mirror. They're reacting to themselves. So standing in that power that you have, standing and really claiming that beautiful emotionality that you have, which is your absolute superpower in this lifetime, really enables you to embody this light form, this light body that you have, and that gives you strength. Now, in this lifetime, you will have a very strong community. You will have a very strong soul family. Once you stand in your power and you really start to connect to your own truth, again, it's not a version of truth, it's a universal truth. Once you stand in your own light, you stand in that truth. And as you do that, you accept everybody else's version of truth and let people exactly be how they should be. And that's exactly how we should be doing it. No judgment. Again, no one's better than anyone else. And everybody has their own missions here on earth. And we all need each other in order to get through it. We all need to work with each other, right? But you are here to solely concentrate on the light. You're not here to concentrate on the darkness. You're not here to concentrate on what's crumbling away. You're not here to concentrate on what has been before. You're here to create these new castles in the sky, the brand new of what we're coming into. So that's what you're here to do, and that's your sole purpose of doing that. Now, when you step into that power, when you really start speaking from that sense of truth, from that higher light, and really standing in that source power, that's when a lot of your soul family start coming to you. You have variants of them, various different places in this life form, as you've met some of them already, and they will stand with you no matter what. But there's more soul family coming in for you. And that's when you create your soul family here on earth. And that's when you really step into this power, and your strength comes from that also. You have a lot of personal power, a lot of personal strength, but your personal strength will come in once you find your absolute community. You've been doing a lot of this work on your own. So it's sort of thankless work in a way. And it's been really tough for you to because you have such a beautiful, like, sort of soft soul. So you've wanted to do that mode of protection. Of course, we all do. So it's been you've had some ups and downs with this mission that you've had in this lifetime. But your blueprint is you really have this source of strength. You really do. And you have this ability to be able to see through people's bullshit too, pardon my French, and really get to the light. When people talk to you about stuff, you'll be able to get to the light and see the light source in them. Whatever they told themselves, whatever they're, whatever they're wrapped up in, is inconsequential. You see their source, their source self. So remind yourself that you're here to shine the light and to be able to show what source is in each person. So once you do that, that real strength comes in, that light comes in. That light's already been there, but that light comes in such a way that it brings in sort of moonbeams, or this beautiful light that shines out and brings in your community. And once that community comes in, you'll be working with them in a myriad of different ways, and it'll be an extra layer of strength for you. So this is coming in for you now. Absolutely. But your power is to really be a mirror for the world and for yourself. Now, creativity, this will be different for each and every one of you. And this is a slightly long reading because we want you to really understand where your power is coming from and to feel safe in being able to use your power. So this is a little bit longer than we would normally go. But it's important because you're coming into this energy and we want you to feel safe and secure and supported in this. You are good enough and conclusions are within reach. Yeah, full moon coming in with an eclipse energy, which is magical energy too. You're coming into this energy of a lot of you just about to step into that full power. You can feel it. You've been incrementally working into this. And you're ready to get out there and shine your light. You absolutely know that your beautiful truth will be out there and bring in like beams of light, your soul family coming in. And it's a lot to ask for you to sort of get out there sort of on your own with the past history that you've had, but we have so much support for you. And, you know, also not only are you good enough, but a lot of you have had a lot of self-doubt one way or another throughout your life, because this has been a very sort of solo journey. Now, obviously, we're all here on our own, but some people really do sort of integrate and work in movements. You know, we're seeing this a lot in spirituality right now too. You know, people are banding together and working together and using that energy together and creating. And whatever it is that they're creating is whatever it is that they're concentrating on. And again, that's neither good nor bad. It's up to them. Everybody has free will here. You get to do what we want to do. And again, we don't know how that's working out in the bigger picture. It's all going to be okay in the end anyways. It really doesn't matter. But, you know, you've been working on the singular, the solo version of this, and getting that completely straight before you succumb to or meld your energy in with other versions of truth. So it, you know, there's been a lot of self-doubt. And also there's been a lot of checking on oneself. You know, do I have this? You know, am I speaking from the ego? Is this happening? You have a unique way of working with your ego. We've said this before in some of the readings. You know, a lot of people, let's fight the ego, let's transcend the ego. Neither one of that is happening in this lifetime. You can work with the ego and you can find a new way to integrate the ego for sure, but you can't fight your ego. It's a part of you, and your ego is really important because it really has the key to your healing ability and be able to tell you what needs to be worked on. And all it just needs to do is to be integrated. It doesn't need to be, you know, it doesn't need to be transmuted as wonderful. So you actually know how to work with your ego in such a beautiful way. You've been working with it and integrating it and know how it works. You know it intimately. You also know fear intimately. You've worked with fear. You've been motivated by fear. You've also been motivated by your ego one way or another, but you've been conscious of that. So when people are being motivated by fear, or they've been motivated by their ego, or this is ego, you can see through it immediately. And a lot of people are. So even in the spiritual community, all over, everybody, a lot of people are right now. And this is just, everything's getting filtered through an ego sense of things. So it's been, you've not necessarily found your soul family to be able to do this. And what you've been concentrating on, it's been more of a singular solo affair. But again, this is something that you've been working on. In the first one we had, let's get it, share your voice, come out of the cave. You've been working in lifetimes before with Egyptian lifetime, lots of different magical specifics that you have in this lifetime. You have a lot of magical knowledge coming in, a lot of ancient magical knowledge, a lot of Atlantis for all of you, also a lot of different star seeds, different star energies. But you've worked by yourself before because of real fear of persecution in many different lifetimes. So you're used to that. But this part of your life now is moving into the consciousness energy of unity and not doing things on your own anymore. So once you step out into that unity consciousness, which you've been doing and holding on your own, but once you do this back into the world, but you do this in a way that allows for absolutely everything, again, like a prism, then your soul family will feel your energy and will come to you in this lifetime. So your soul family is coming into you, and then the joy of knowing that you're not completely on your own. There are others who have very similar blueprints to you in this lifetime. Although I will say that this blueprint is largely doesn't happen that often. There are a lot of blueprints for, you know, shining light onto the 3D, but there are very few blueprints of the souls that are coming in that are holding space for absolutely everyone. Very few that are clear channels. Very few people are doing this in this lifetime, and this is very, very ancient knowledge that you're coming in with. So of course you're going to feel as though you're the only one. So hold up there, you got this, Paul One. And hopefully we've given you enough information and at least support to know what you're doing. A lot of people are working in pile 1 with creativity, whatever it is that you do in this lifetime, which is going to be specific to each one of you. A lot of you have an amalgam of bringing in different elements of things because, you know, just working on one thing drives you nuts. You know, you want to bring in this, you want to bring in that. But whatever you do, you're going to put your unique stamp on it, creativity-wise, and all of that will be integrated into the world and will hold your light and really give hope to people. So this is whatever it is that you do, it will be integrated into the world in a wonderful way. Keep working on being out there. Keep working on shining your light to bring in these new soul family members coming in for that support. Oh my goodness, Owen. 3 rays of light, balancing male and female energies, peace and harmony. That's what you do. You're all about that balance and also more light here. We've got the Sun card. The beautiful Sun card here, look, holding light in your solar plexus there and firmly balanced. And that's what you're great at doing too, taking the balances of what everybody else is saying out there and balancing out in the middle, you know. Spirit, heavenly assistance from your angels and your guides. Absolutely. You have a very specific angel, beautiful team coming in to work with you as you work through all of these old dimensions. And because you are alchemists, you take on a lot of that energy and you're transmuting it too. Although you're using this energy on a singular level now to move in to just being you instead of having to transmute all of the energy from the world. So be careful of that if you're going back into that and you're feeling a little, you know, overwhelmed or sometimes underwhelmed, like really exhausted. You might be still trying to take in the energy and transmuting that. This is about standing in your own power now and standing in that truth and in that way allowing everybody just to be who they are, not taking any of this personally. So this is your reading, a little bit longer than we normally do, actually a lot longer than we normally do, but this is a very, very important blueprint. And because there are not that many of you out there in this way, working specifically in this way, a lot of people are teaming up and have, you know, came in and to team up in this lifetime to bring that energy and move that energy forward, which is a wonderful way of doing it. And most people are doing it that way because it's, you know, why wouldn't you choose to be with everybody else and bringing it together and bringing in community and working together? You are, but you've come in to do a solo affair and just hold this light and then bring in community afterwards. So we just wanted to be there for you as a matter of support. So we are sending you support exactly where you are. We hope that you got something out of this beautiful reading, and we are sending you so much love and light, seriously, for what you do and utmost respect for what you do. Keep rocking your world, Pile 1. Stay safe and sane until we meet again. Bye-bye. Hello, lovelies. If you chose pile 2, then this is your card. It says no, and then underneath it says wait, postpone, pause, say no. So there's a million different ways that you can use this. If you asked a question, this could be your answers. We said at the beginning, you know, the hit that I got off of this initially was to stay in the present moment, to keep yourself in the present moment, that there are many different timelines coming up and you can choose any way you want to go to, but it's staying in the present moment that will give you the ultimate power. So, but this is also wait, postpone, pause, say no. This is also could be standing your ground for some of you, knowing who you are or who you're not. For some of you, definitely getting that feel of taking off that sort of mask and saying, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. This is who I am. Accept me for exactly who I am, and this is it. So bringing all aspects of yourself into the light. But again, any way that you saw it is totally up to you. But this is your reading. We are doing working with our Roman goddess, moon goddess, Luna, and she is bringing in some beautiful messages. What is your soul's blueprint? Channeling, you know, your gifts, your powers, your uniqueness, getting some specifics for you. So let's get right into, we have our, I was going to say unicorn cards, but we have our oracle cards, not unicorn cards today. And we have our tarot, and we have many different ones. So you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. Now, we did see this right then, about really standing in your power and saying, this is who I am, take me as I am. And this could be in really specific ways of deciding that you are going to be this way or going to be that way, or shifting something about your personality, even gender, whatever it is. This is my true self. I am claiming it. This is my time. That is part of your blueprint to be authentic in this lifetime. Absolutely and truly authentic and free from the confines of what society tells us to be. Even if we know who we are, a lot of us hide it, because, which is perfectly normal. It's a human thing to do, because, you know, when we get out there in the world, we're told all sorts of things, and sometimes it's a matter of keeping ourselves out of danger, right? So we totally understand that. This is for you though, your blueprint. You have this beautiful energy of creativity and vividness, and your imagination is so vivid and gorgeous. You know, bringing that to the forefront and actually saying in this lifetime, this is exactly who I am, and take me as I am no matter what, and for you to accept every aspect of yourself. So, and to also understand, as it said, you know, embrace your weirdness. You're not for everyone, but the people who do love you, ooh, they die for you. So star mother, how can you mother yourself? Absolutely. And that goes with accepting all aspects of yourself. Now you've got the no, and then you've got wait. It's not time. It's not yet time. Things are being woven. So here's what feeling here. Your blueprint is very much about claiming who you are. And specifically with these cards, the hit that I'm getting off of them, the message that I'm being told is that you're always, a lot of you are, or maybe just some of you, maybe this is a message for just some of you, but some of you are always waiting for the right circumstances to, you know, to get out there, or to do this or to do that, or to claim every aspect of themselves, you know, the sort of the right climate, the right energy. And we're asking you to sort of cultivate that energy and that time for yourself. There's no right time to accept yourself completely as you are. And it's really important in this lifetime for you to claim every aspect of yourself. Shine light. This is not shadow work now. You've done a lot of the healing. You've done a lot of the shadow work, as we say on this channel a lot. Don't go down the rabbit hole. I mean, we're always going to be evolving. We're always going to be changing. We're always going to be learning and moving forward. I mean, those of us who are open to it, and Paul too, you're definitely open to it. So, you know, you're never going to be rigid. Oh, I've done it now. You know, I've got my PhD. I don't need to learn anything more. No, I don't want to hear anything else. You're never going to be like that. But, you know, sometimes it's good to say, all right, I've done this healing now. I don't need to go down the rabbit hole. I don't need to go and do this course and do that course. I know where I am. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to stay open to whatever comes in and around me with this energy. I'll be ready to integrate it. I'm really happy to do that and take on some more energy. And of course, you know, when more energy comes in and shines light on something, I'm very happy to change my opinion and shift and remain flexible in this lifetime, because that's how we be able to see everything from everybody else's point of view and have this really beautiful sort of soul-filled life, instead of being very specific and sort of one-dimensional about there's one way of doing things, there's one way, you know, to see things, there's one way to God, and if anybody else doesn't do it that way, they're going to hell and all this other rubbish. And, you know, and if that's the way you want to go, no judgment there. That's you. Everybody, this earth is a free will zone. Please go be you with no judgment here. But that's not what you're here to do. And most people on this channel, we hope, is, you know, who actually involves themselves in this channel, probably wouldn't be like that too. You know, here to really experience everything from everybody else's point of view. You're also here to not filter, and this is also very rare. We're seeing a lot of this in this lifetime, where people filter other people's lives through their own version of events, instead of like really holding space for other people and just allowing them to have their own version of events and saying, I can't imagine what you went through, you know, because I haven't had your experience in life. We don't say that enough to each other. We experience other people's versions of reality through our own filtering system, which could never, ever really understand what anybody else has been through. And you're here to do the opposite. You're here to sort of just let everybody else be, and just sort of filter through everybody else's experience through sort of the light, and allow people to have space and be exactly who they are. And you're here to be a wonderful listener. And you're here to really shine authenticity and to shine light on all of the darkness that lies within. And again, this is not terrible stuff. Oh my God, I've got darkness within. It's a wonderful thing because we all have darkness. All we do need to do is shine the light on that darkness and it dissipates. Now what happens, and what you're very good at doing, you know, sometimes when we shine the light, we think, oh, horrible things are down there, so we're afraid to shine the light. We project outwards onto other people, blame everybody else for their lives, blame the government, blame control, blame all sorts of things on the outside because we don't want to look within, right? But the thing that we want to say to you here today is that, you know, we've been taught that, you know, a lot of this darkness is within and we have to work with it. But I'm going to suggest to you today, we're going to suggest to you today that, yeah, some of that is true, absolutely. But what if there are parts of yourself that are beautiful, that are waiting to be discovered in the dark? And for you, bringing out that beauty and integrating that fully creates this authentic, gorgeous self that's non-judgmental, encourages people to listen to each other and to really accept people at a soul level. If people looked at each other and really saw each other's soul, we would have such a different world. Instead of not listening, even when people are listening, they're trying to figure out what they're going to say next, or again, you know, not allowing people to have their own circumstances in this lifetime. I've had people do that a lot, especially with, you know, even in the past with my partner who's Native American, like a lot of like, you know, talking over his experience and saying all sorts of things that they could never know what it's like to have the experience that he's had. And just to admit that you would never know. You will just never know. I will never know. I've been with him X amount of years. I will never know. You know, holding that experience and just holding that knowledge and holding that light for him and holding that space, but I will never know. Doesn't mean that I can't be a good partner to him, but I will never know. That's okay. You know, I've seen that in life so much, and I know it hurts people. And you have come here to really shine a light on how we do that. And people are really afraid to look within. They're so obsessed with looking on the external and creating this life on the external and all this stuff going on and convincing themselves that they're doing right. And, you know, and they are. They're doing whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do. That's fine. But concentrating on whatever you concentrate is bringing more of it in. And it's because everybody's afraid to sort of look within, right? But we're suggesting that whatever a lot of people are hiding from is actually aspects of themselves rather than sort of pain. You know, a lot of people have transcended a lot of that pain, and actually what they're running away from by concentrating on the external, not the internal, is aspects of themselves that are really truly beautiful, that give them that sort of new dimension, extra dimension to their personality and to their beauty. And integrating that gives you and them and everyone who does this unique kind of beautiful authenticity that, in a way, it's very strange. As you become more authentic, you become less identified with this idea of being a warrior, with being this specific label in this world. I'm here to do this, I'm here to do that. You're here to hold space for everyone. It sort of disintegrates a little bit. So you're here to do that work, and you've done that work. You're here to shine the light and to really look at that self-confidence and to really look at that beauty and to really find all of those beautiful integrated purposes in the darkness, to find all those little quirks about yourself and that beauty that you may have hid, you know, in previous lifetimes, or maybe, you know, your childlike self because you needed to protect it, and to go in and to be able to do that. So what we're saying is this wait card and this no card is that to trust that when everything is integrated, which you're absolutely working on and ready to go out there, there's not one way to move forward. The world becomes completely open to you. You don't have to do things one way. You can live spherically and open up to whatever it is and anyway, and live in many different directions and dimensions. And it sounds a little bit strange, but you're actually capable of skipping timelines and working in many different dimensions. So this is a wonderful place for you to do. And what you've had to do is to really build up this beautiful sense of self. And again, you had to go in and discover aspects of yourself in order to come into this wholeness that you've had in this lifetime. And again, we want to reiterate that not just pain lives in the darkness. When we shine light on aspects of ourselves, we're shining light on talents that we had in past lives and we can integrate into this life. We're shining light on truths ultimate truths, you know, universal truths that are right there, and we're ready to see them now. You know, so for you, the divine feminine's coming in, and this has really helped you to see aspects of yourself and to really come together in that knowledge and hold space for people, to see people through their beauty without judgment, and just to let people be who they are and to have their own experiences. Again, this is not a small thing. You know, society has done a number on us one way or another, so I'm not surprised that people are rebelling against it. Absolutely, totally understand that. Not quite for me, it's not where my energy wants to be, but I totally understand what people are doing. And I mean, I get it. I've been doing it actually most of my life. I've just decided recently that I'm not doing it anymore. You know, I've been in resistant mode my entire life. I'm just not doing it anymore. But it's, you know, society tells us all sorts of things, and to dumb ourselves down, and to create this sort of society where we don't get to see each other. We get to see not each other's worth, but what others can do for you. So I saw this sort of meme on Facebook, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant, actually. And it was, can't remember which actor, but they were saying, you know, people ask what you do for a living, so they can see how much respect they're going to give you. Now, whether you believe that or not, you know, I had to take that in and listen to it, reread it a couple times, and I thought, society does set us up that way. You know, how much respect I'm going to give you based on what you do. I've always been lucky in that way, because when I've said I'm a writer, people are like, oh, and they find that intriguing at least. You know, so I haven't been judged as much as most people, but you know, and we've seen a lot of this in the last 15 months, where people who are considered unskilled workers are now the forefront of our, you know, kept society going for the last 15 months, right? And we're now seeing that everybody has finally, you know, acknowledging that everybody has real value, which we should have done before, but it took, you know, whatever's been going on for the last 15 months for this to come to fruition and everybody to see it. But this is what you're here to do. If everybody saw each other's soul beyond race or color, and I don't mean in a hippy dippy 1960s way, like let's hold hands and sing kumbaya, like no problems exist, not at all. But you know, if everybody could see that and give people space and let people be who they are, we would live in a different space and a different world. And that's what you're creating, and you're doing that through your own authenticity. And yeah, you've had to really pull yourself up, and for a lot of you, there wasn't a lot of encouragement for being that unique soul that you are. And in fact, that sensitivity that you had could have been seen as a detriment as you were growing up. But you're growing into this, and you're growing into this beautiful self-confidence of knowing. And it's almost like, because there's been so much pressure in your life, it's almost like you're seeing that the diamond is being formed. But you had to, you know, you started out coal, which is still beautiful because it burns bright, right? And I don't know why people are so obsessed with diamonds. Believe it or not, you know, diamonds aren't actually that rare, and there's a lot of blood money around diamonds. But that's another way that we've been taught in society. You know, if you get a diamond, you know, it's really special. Actually, they're dime a dozen. But anyway, back to I digress. But back to this. You know, you've had a lot of pressure, and having that pressure, you're starting to see that the diamond's been formed, but you wouldn't have be able to do that without the pressure. But that's not been easy, so we acknowledge that. We definitely do. But once that diamond has been formed, you can really stand in your own power. So as you had that power, of course, there was doubt. You know, there was things that you needed to do to yourself to nurture yourself, to be able to learn how to do that for yourself so you could do that to others. You had to start looking within and accepting every aspect of yourself. You had to constantly go within. Now for you, a lot of people are doing the opposite. A lot of people are not going within right now, and you know, and really obsessed with the external and going after the external. You've done the opposite. You've done so much on the internal. We're asking you to sort of have this common place now and get ready to sort of integrate into the external. But for those of you who are either a little bit nervous about doing that or don't know how to move forward in this way, that's fair enough, because once that, you know, you're forming into that diamond's being formed for you, and you will live spherically and move in any different direction. So we want you to encourage not to move in one direction, but to keep your life completely open. There's so many different timelines going on right now that you can move in any direction you want, and spherically you can live in 2 different directions. You can do whatever you want. So, you know, for some of you, it might be great to hold off on making any one specific, and this is a timeless reading, but it's coming out at a specific time. It's coming out like the day before my birthday. So it's coming on the 12th of July later on this evening. So in this context, in this time right now, just leaving everything open and trusting. Sometimes the best thing to do is not to move forward in any one direction, but trust that the universe is bringing it all to you. Let's get you some beautiful tarot and see what we have for you. But this is an extremely exciting time. Now, this is not a waiting period per se, and it's, you know, you're not in the void, which is a really exciting place to be in, because in the void anything can happen. You're actually not, you're coming out of that, excuse me, and it's not a holding place, but it is an exciting place for you. You see it as a perch where you get to see all different timelines playing out. And, you know, if any of you have made decisions and, you know, and I'm doing this and I've decided on that, go do it. Absolutely. You know, we're saying for those of you who are not clear about what the next step is, that's exactly where you should be. And that's wonderful. And don't worry about that, because everything is going to happen as it happens. Just hold space for yourself and get ready to come out of the interior, but instead of rushing to the exterior, which is the complete opposite, just hold space in the middle. Everything will come to fruition for you. Yeah, we've got the 5 of Cups coming into a new beginning. Something's ending. We've got the 8 of Wands. So the 8 of Wands, absolutely, something's coming to you. Some kind of news, some kind of letter, something is coming to you, some news is coming in that's going to bring you in the new direction. And the Page of Wands, absolutely. So you're ready to move forward. You've got a lot of this beautiful energy, a lot of this passion coming in. You're ready. The diamond has been formed here. This is part of this is your soul's blueprint to be you, not only unique, but to claim your authenticity and hold space for others. It's also your incredible gift and your power. And this is not a small thing in this lifetime. This is something that's been cultivated, and you'll be very passionate about it. For some of you, it'll be working with the considered underdogs in society, or even working with children. For some of you, it will be creative means working. Some of you, it will be lyrics and even graphic novels, or something that's in that people can turn on and listen to, something that where the energy of that will come in and integrate into this lifetime. And yeah, something is coming in for you, an energy of it, and you're moving out of this energy of no longer looking back and finally seeing that you're at this new plateau where you have these new choices, and you're seeing life in a brand new way, again in this diamond mode, right? But yeah, something from the external will come in and create maybe a new version of reality for you. But it's more that you're, you know, that if you're waiting for news of something, or something's going to come in, a catalyst is going to come in from you, from the external world, and put you in this new direction. So until then, definitely make waves. And again, if you've decided on certain things, then absolutely go for it. These readings are here to help you and support you, not to tell you what to do, ever, ever, ever. As I throw about the camera here. So do what you need to do. But if you feel as though you're in a little bit of a holding pattern, you feel as though because you're so passionate, you've got this kinetic energy, you want to be moving forward, don't worry about it. It's all coming into fruition. Just keep breathing. We gotcha. But keep concentrating on this beautiful gift, which is not a small thing. Now, you have this in common with Pile 1, insofar as the gifts that are coming up in your soul missions are very, very specific in this lifetime, and they are not small. They are absolutely needed, and they concentrate sort of more on the individual right now, holding space for the individual, and it requires you doing a hell of a lot of work on your own terms without necessarily being integrated into the world. But because of that, you've done the internal work. You're not relying on the external. You're not blaming anything on the external. You're not fighting anything on the external. You know that all the responsibility is taking full responsibility for the internal, and knowing absolutely full well that your external world that you created for yourself is a mirror of your internal world. If you're fighting on the external, it means something needs to be integrated on the internal. And also knowing without a shadow of a doubt that we create our own reality. And wherever we put our energy, if you resist, it persists. You know, wherever you put your energy, you are creating more of that. And this is something that you absolutely know and you live by. And that, combined with the way in which you see people as their gorgeous energy, exactly as they are, in this beautiful way, and claiming your authenticity is going to be life-changing. And it already has been. You know, you might have found as you have these conversations with people that you may not even know that well, you know, a couple of weeks later, you might even find, you know, that they've changed their lives dramatically, or they've done this, that, and the other. You're very powerful in that way. High Priestess of the Earth, absolutely. Don't doubt it. Do not doubt it. Now, you've got some Wands energy going on here. You've definitely got that passion, that kinetic energy moving forward, that fire energy. But you've also got this real sort of grounded, this is also coming into 3, coming into this community element too, coming out of doing things on your own. Very different energy and different, slightly different soul path, soul blueprint in pile 1, but still the kinetic energy and doing things on a solo affair, you will have that in common. But this real grounded energy into the earth of knowing who you are and being fully responsible for who you are, absolutely. And love, absolutely. You know, the way in which you hold light for people is, again, not small. It's absolutely beautiful. And being able to see people exactly as they are. Now, sometimes this piece pisses people off, right? There might be a little bit triggering here, there, and the other, and you don't say a word. You can look right into somebody's eyes and you see them. And people don't always like to be seen if they're not, you know, if they're in this, you know, putting everything on the external, on the outside, and not taking responsibility for their own in their own energy, which of course everybody has the right to do. And I do want to be clear, we've all done it. We've all done it. We've all lived like that. We've all done it, including you. That's how you know to go back and correct it and figure it out. The one thing that we can say about you, Pal, too, you've made a lot of mistakes. We all have, otherwise we wouldn't learn. But you've taken a lot of responsibility for those mistakes. If you've not been able to do it in the moment or thereafter with that person or that situation, you've always made sure in one way or another that you don't go back and resume that, what, you know, you've learned that lesson at that time. Even sometimes if you've been in a loop where you start attracting the same people and this, that, and the other, it's still slightly different. Yes, there's still lessons that you needed to learn. You didn't quite get it yet to be integrated, so you kept attracting the same kind of energies. And part for you, you wanted to save people, so you were attracting people who were needy and took your energy but didn't treat you correctly, or didn't treat you with the honor that you absolutely deserve. So this has been a loop for you one way or another, but you've always tried to be as responsible for your own energy as you possibly could, so you don't have to, you know, resume it or redo the lesson. You get bored. You don't want to keep going round and round in circles. This has been a motivator for you to get into your inner psyche, and this is not easy work. There's a reason why people are projecting on the external and not coming into that internal energy, because it's so much has gone on with the world. We think, you know, we have to go out and we got to fight them, we got to resist them. It's totally understandable, you know, and it's not been great. There's been, you know, whatever everybody's fighting against, you know, there's a reason for it, you know. But, you know, coming into the internal, it's difficult work. That's really, really, really difficult work, and it takes you out of the world. And when people feel as though they should be in the world, you know, this is not the right time to go within. This is the time to fight. This is the time to stand ground. This is time to do that. Totally understand it. It does take you out of the world. Doing this inner work does take you out of the world. It can be lonely. It is tough work. And it's work that you integrate sort of in the darkness. Totally understand it. But it's the work that ultimately leads to love, and it leads to unconditional love. And this is something we absolutely need more of in this lifetime. And while everybody is out there, you know, fighting this, that, and the other, what they're doing is they're pulling down those structures that really pushed this idea that there's conditional love. I'll love you if you do this, or if you have this car, this, that, and the other. So everybody's doing their work to bring this all together. But you're doing the ultimate work here too, by really doing this inner work. So when all these structures, and there's chaos right now, we can see it, all these structures are falling apart. They can't, you know, there's too much light out there. They can't keep up with it. They're falling apart anyway, so we don't need to worry about it. It's all falling apart. Even if those systems are saying that we still have power and we're going to do this, it's not going to happen. It's not going to, there's just too much light. It's all going to crumble. It's all going to crumble. So, you know, when that's all crumbled, this understanding, and not ideal, it's not an ideal, it's not an idea, it's an understanding of unconditional love. That's when you click into this lifetime and do what you're meant to do. And this is a beautiful thing. Again, for those of you who are creative, it's wonderful, because everything you put out there and integrates into the world, people will be able to feel that. It'll be palpable. And that's what we need. So this is not a small thing in this lifetime. It's very much piggybacking off of sort of actively pulling down the structures, which in my opinion are already dead. Those structures are already gone. We've already moved through them. So we're gonna, for my purposes, concentrating on unconditional love is where I want to be. But you gotta do you, because everybody has their own version of things. So yeah, what do you need to release? The waning moon, and balance spirituality and practicality. Now that's what you're doing now. As you move out into the world, from the inner to sort of the external, and being back and integrating into the world, balancing the spirituality and practicality, the way in which you speak to people is very grounded. It's very honest. You have this this beautiful understanding of people, again, about meeting people exactly as they are. So people listen to you with integrity. There's no agenda to the way that you speak. And maybe what you need to release is, and we're just putting it out there, is just to know that the strength that you have is enough. You know, you were given a really intense, just like Pile 1, you were given a really intense blueprint. Your soul's blueprint. It's not a small thing to do. And as everybody is rallying around together and fighting this and doing it, everybody's in a collective form, right? And together they're creating that energy, because it's a collective form. Whether we need that energy or not, they're using that energy. But there's safety in numbers, and that's a wonderful thing to do. We are here to come together. We are here to have that collective form and to choose what we want to focus on. So it's been tough for you in many ways to be able to do this work on its own, again, on your own. And as you integrate into the world now, and you have this beautiful grounded sense of self that people will be attracted to, and this understanding of really working through the ego and really doing this inner work, which is absolutely crucial now more than anything, and taking this full responsibility for your energy, for, again, very few people do. Full responsibility for your energy and getting out there and integrating. You know, we're going to ask you to try and release the need to try and always be understood. You know, you will be understood by people, but sometimes you've not felt understood. So, you know, you're 3 steps forward and then 5 steps backwards. Then you've sort of come back into your shell a little bit. You know, stand in your own integrity, and remember that you are just standing for the light in your own unique way, and seeing everybody the way that they need to be seen. Honestly, the way that people, the way that Source sees people. So if people don't understand you, it doesn't mean that you're not doing your work and you're not getting to people. I mean, you're not standing your ground and being who you are. We don't want you to repel and bring in your energy. We want you to keep that energy strong, so other people, you know, have to shift their energy to frequency up to you, right? Because you have that high frequency. So before, when you come in, and it's not that you don't have the self-confidence, it's just that you meet people exactly where they are in such a drastic way that, you know, you can have really high energy. And then if somebody has sort of low frequency, you'll go down to their frequency. That's how much you see them on their own terms. Now, that's wonderful in some ways. It's admirable, but we want you to keep that high frequency no matter where you go. So what you need to release is the need to meet everybody exactly where they are. Keep that high frequency, but to accept everybody exactly where they are. So your frequency remains high. They need to level up to be in and around you. So when you go into these circumstances, you integrate yourself back into the world. You're not confused and constantly sort of up and down with your energy, or get anxious. That can happen to you too, anxious or overwhelmed in these energy, because your energies plummet when you're in and around certain energy. And this could be online too. If there's certain energies that that are going on, again, you can accept people exactly as they are, and understand that they're doing what they need to do, but you don't have to attach your energy to that and bring it down as low density energy. Let them be whatever they need to do. Again, let them play it out. That's just what needs to be done. But accepting without integrating your energy or lending your energy. You're used to lending your energy. So what you need to release, that's the hit that I'm getting for you, what you need to release. But there may be things on a personal level, because these are, these are going out to a lot of you, these readings. So you might know what you need to release on a personal level for you to start integrating back into the earth on your own terms. So, and that's been for everybody in the last 15 months. We've not been as integrated into the world as we had liked because of what's going on. So that's just generally anyway, but particularly for you. So let's end with these magic making cards. Let's get you another couple of cards and see what we've got for you. You beautiful soul, you. So we have, prosperity, a prosperous business with riches and successes. Wonderful. That's coming in for you if you don't have it already. And the sun, the golden energy of the sun, brings fame and fortune. So Pearl 2, the way in which you integrate into the world, you got this. Whatever you put out into the world, creativity, it's going to be a great success, because it holds the blueprint of unconditionality. So you literally cannot go wrong. And again, for each and every one of you, it will be slightly different. It doesn't have to be creative means. A lot of you will be working on amalgams of different kinds of things, bringing in threads of this, that, and the other. On the forefront of creativity, bringing in something different. Maybe your idea is a little bit more quirky. You have that uniqueness, thinking outside of the box. This is the timing that's right for it. That's why, some of you could be writers or working on things, long-term projects that take you out of the world a little bit. And now you're ready to integrate back into the world on your own terms. But whatever it is that you decide to do in this lifetime, and we had here too, this is not the only one. Let me go get it. And what do we have here? Page of Wands, Eight of Wands. Oh. Five of Cups. Actually, that was pile 1 with the Pentacles, but we don't need it. You do have similar energy in some ways. You might want to check out pile 1, but it's totally up to you. It's different energy, but it's the same kind of information in some ways. But yeah, whatever you decide to do, whatever you are doing, is not deciding. You already know. A lot of you already know. You will have great success, even if you haven't had great success to this point. It's this integrative energy that you have, this blueprint, which for a lot of you has just been really activated in the last maybe 8 months, like full on activated. A lot of you had like a lot of ascension symptoms, and you're waiting, leveling them out. You've gone through certain aspects and then you level out, and another ascension symptoms. You've had in the last 15 months, you've grown exponentially. So now that you're getting back out into the world, just concentrate on being you. Again, that inner work, concentrate on taking that inner work out into the external world. Remember that unconditional love. Stand in your own truth and honesty and see people exactly how they are. Integrate that into everything you do, and you're guaranteed absolute success. And we mean real success. I mean real success, accolades, money, this idea that spiritual people or people who do shouldn't be successful or shouldn't have a lot of money or shouldn't charge for what they do. You'll charge whenever you want. and you won't charge whenever you want, but it's perfectly reasonable that you should have real found human success in this lifetime, because you will do incredible things with that money. In fact, if I had $2 million, I would happily give you $1 million right now, because you would do so many great things with that money. What is it that somebody said the other day, you know, that's going around, that all these billionaires going to space? If the billionaires got together and instead of trying to figure out who was going to go to space first, figured out who was going to cure, because it's a part of our society it's a crappy part of our society, so it can be cured. Who was going to cure homelessness first? We would be better society, right? Instead of trying to figure out who's going to go to space first. This is exactly what you're here to do. Cure all of this. You know, all of this can be done. We can help each other, and it all starts with unconditional love. So sending you so much support, pal, too. So much love and light for who you are, and holding space for you exactly as you are. Stay safe and sane, and go be you, and go get your riches. You absolutely deserve them. Take care. Okay, my gorgeous pal threes, if you chose this card, protection, call your power back. Excuse me, cut the cords, soul retrieval. This is your card, and this reading is what is your soul's blueprint. We are working with our Roman goddess Luna here, bringing out some beautiful messages here of integrity and finding out your soul's mission, your gifts, your powers, and your uniqueness. We will start off with these beautiful oracle cards, and we have a ton of oracle cards and some tarot we'll be bringing in later. So let's get right into your reading. Activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. Absolutely. And sometimes I read these on the reverse, but I'm not going to do that today. It's not feeling that's what we need. Transformation, things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing, absolutely. Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Okay, so a few things going on for you, pal 3, and yeah, I'm really feeling as though you have a lot of protection around you. Soul retrieval. So one thing that we're getting for you right now is that you're here to really understand and to really work through not just integrity, but to understand authenticity and to stand in your own power. So the one thing that I'm picking up, the first thing that I'm picking up for you, pal 3, is that you're so open, you take on everybody else's energy, which means that you take on other people's opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with everybody, far from it. You know, the ironic thing is that you actually know where you end and somebody else begins. However, you take on so many other people's opinions that it's moved into your psyche, and you can integrate them in ways that sort of make you a little uneasy. So the world, what you're here to do, your uniqueness, your mission, is to stand at your ground and to understand individuality, okay, in such a way, and bear with us while I try to get the right verbiage for this, to understand individuality and uniqueness, and honor that within yourself, while fully embracing the fact that we were all one and we were all integrated. Okay, so this is not an easy thing to do, to get that. It's sort of it's a fine line, and it's a fine balance here, because often people, you know, work with the ego and they go too far with the I'm this and I'm that, and then, you know, or they lose complete sense of themselves, and they don't, you know, they don't know what they stand for, and they get triggered by things. And when they get triggered by things, they're easily pulled into sort of an agenda. I'm going to do this. Yeah, I stand for that. I stand for that, because they've not done the inner work and know really where they stand. You know, that makes sense to them, so they're going to go into that, but they're not really doing the inner work that they need to do. This is not a small thing. It takes lifetimes. You've done this over many, many lifetimes. In fact, you've had many lifetimes where you've taken on so much information. You knew so much, and you probably have an element of this in this lifetime, where you may not know enough about one subject to be considered a complete expert, but you know a ton about everything, but not quite enough, you know. And, you know, some of you may have worried if you had a sense of commitment troubles. You don't. When you commit to something, you absolutely commit. But the idea of studying just one thing for a certain amount of time drives you insane. And even if you've, if you were committed to that one thing, it will be committed for that one time of learning it. And then when you've learned it, if you're studying to be a lawyer and then you go, oh, I don't actually want to do this anymore, I want to study something else, so for a small amount of time, or, on earth, 3 years or whatever, that's not a small amount of time, but for a certain amount of time, you're willing to like dedicate yourself to one thing to learn it. And then you want to move on to something else. You don't want to keep dedicating yourself to that one thing. So, you're very used to taking on all of this information, as learning as much as you can. In fact, you're a total sponge. You've been doing this all the way through your life. So in many ways, Pile 3, it's impossible for you. And when you do commit, you really do commit. It doesn't happen that often, but when you've decided you're going to do something, you're going to do it. But even then, once you've done it, you might decide that you don't want it anymore. So commitment for you is absolutely huge. And also it can be difficult for you to decide that you want to take one path or do this, that, and the other. Because when you take one path, you're saying, in your mind, you're saying no to 10 other things that can happen, right? Personally, if I had to choose, I see myself in every single pile that I do, but if I had to choose one pile, this would be me. This literally sums up my personality, so I'm sure we would be very great friends in real life. So I totally understand. Now, this is kind of gone in your favor in one way, and we're going to be crystal clear about that. When people are gung-ho about one way to God, one way to do things, there's only this way, and you agree with me or you're against me, this is not in your personality, this is not in your verbiage, this is not in your vocabulary. You don't get it. Because there's a myriad of different ways of doing things, and that's too much commitment for you to do it. It's almost like you're afraid to do things just one way because you're afraid of what you're missing out on the other side. So this is inherent in your personality, and it makes you unique, and it really helps with your blueprint in this lifetime, because you're not easily duped. And even if you are, it's only for a certain amount of time. You can be really hard on yourself. I can't believe I fell for that. I can't believe this person, and I tried it on, and it's, oh God, and I did this. But that's fine. But even then, you'll go into that situation and you'll find some gems of information in there, and you'll apply it to your life. You can find any kind of knowledge in any kind of situation, which is the greatest way to be, of course. So you're never completely duped. You're never completely in one way of doing things. But if you choose something for yourself, you're completely committed to that one thing. So it's very difficult for you to choose just one path and say there's only one way of doing things, which is a wonderful way to be open and flexible in this lifetime anyway. That's how we learn. That's how we, I'm wrong, or, I thought I was right about this, but I wasn't, or this is a wonderful way to see it. What's that? Anthony Bourdain, I think that's Bourdain. Yeah. That famous quote, and of course I'm ad-libbing, but it says, go have a pint at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's famous meme. Go have a pint 4 o'clock in the afternoon in a place that doesn't have anybody else in there. Go sit in your local neighborhood in a place that you would never choose to eat in. Speak to people that you would never choose to speak to. Listen to them. Learn about them. And that's the sort of thing. You're really open to that, which is absolutely wonderful in this lifetime, because you want to be open to it. There's not one way of doing things. It's not inherent in your personality. So there's a militant part of you, certainly. But that you take that militant part of you and you put it in that sort of fixating part of getting things done. You take that militant part and you use it in that strength to finish up on projects. That militant part of you is what kinetic energy is used to finish projects, because sometimes you don't always finish them, but when you commit, you do finish them. You're the sort of person, if something doesn't feel right, you'll move on. My sister used to say that to me when I was a kid all the time. I don't understand. You start all these things and it didn't feel right. I don't feel like finishing it. It didn't feel like, but when I do finish, I do completely finish. But when she started something, she would finish it no matter what. She just didn't get that. We never understood each other on that level. I was like, if something doesn't feel right and I'm happy doing it, why do I need to finish it? It just doesn't feel right to me. I didn't come here to be miserable. So this is inherently part of your personality. This is something that you have. And that militant side of you that, sometimes I'm going to, sometimes when you've been in that situation, I'm going to do this to prove somebody wrong. Somebody said that I can't do it and I'm going to finish it. That's another reason why you would have done it, but that's, you know, just one or two situations. But that militant aspect of you is taken into strength. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to take this to the finish line, and then you will finish it. Again, whether you go on with it and how that's integrated into your life afterwards is completely up to you. But you're full of experiences. You're full of beauty. And you naturally want to see people the way in which they're doing things and just accept them the way that they are. And that's absolutely wonderful, but you can get lost in that energy, and some of you have lost a sense of yourself in that energy, whereby, you know, if you take on so many energies and so many different ways of doing things, you constantly wonder if, you know, where you stand in that, or if you're missing out on something, or, you know, if you choose something else, then you're worried that you're choosing incorrectly, or this, that, and the other. So there's an element of calling your power back. And all that is having that strength in the knowledge that being open to this degree where you're flexible, you allow everybody to be who they are. That's, you know, everybody is, you know, we've talked about this, especially in the last 15 months. A lot of people are going through, if not everybody in their own way, is going through a trauma response, or some people particularly going through a trauma response in the last 15 months with everything that we've been through. And it's been very extreme globally. You know, we've all been affected one way or another. As the other saying, we're all in the same storm. People have different boats. Not everybody's in the same boat. We're all in the same storm, right? Nobody's not been affected by everything that's been going on globally. So there's a lot of traumatic responses that are going on, a lot of people being motivated through fear and through ego, and using that as a catalyst. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what they need to do to heal. So, you know, when you're going out there and you're trying to choose, you know, a way forward, or to be open and honest with everybody, and taking everybody's not taking anybody's versions for granted. I see you, I hear you. You're taking in all of this energy, and it could be overwhelming you. And some of this energy is low density energy. Again, everybody gets to be wherever they want to be and do whatever they need to do. And this work probably, you know, needs to be done. If they decide to do it, that's up to them. But for you, it's soul growth and energy. You're not here to resist anymore. You're not here to do the conflict thing. You're here to do the light bearing thing. So with all the energy that's going on, it might be great for you to call back your energy and stand in your own ground. Again, accept everybody exactly where they are. It's wonderful stuff. Everything that everybody's doing is work that needs to be done, to be brought out into the light. You may not understand it. You may not quite agree with it. I don't want to go in that direction. It doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be done. It doesn't mean that we need to judge it, right? So, but for you, it would be really good, pile 3, to say, that isn't for me. You know, for you, you keep everything so open that you kind of feel a little bit of a betrayal if you say that isn't for me. You feel as though you're not being with those people, or you know, you're betraying them in some way, or you're saying that it's wrong. It's not wrong. You're not saying to anyone that you're wrong. You can say that that's not how I feel. That's not the way I'm going in, but you can respect where everybody is. You don't have to agree with absolutely everyone in order to accept absolutely everyone and what they're going. There's so many different ways to do things. So call back your power. And it's okay to cut your energy off from things that don't serve you and energy that doesn't serve you, and still remain in the light, and thank them for the work that they're doing. And believe that with the freedom of choice, they not only obviously do they deserve to have their own versions of things, but their own versions of things and what they've chosen absolutely works for them. It just doesn't work for you in your life. So it'd be good for you to really stand your ground in that way. Even though you're very good at your energy, you do understand where your energy begins and they start, but sometimes it can get confusing when you take in more of that extra energy, and it kind of it takes you off kilter a little bit. So come back to whom you know you are. And sometimes it is good for you, because with so much energy going on, we are in unprecedented circumstances. I don't know how many people have said that over it's probably millions of times we've said that. But we are in unprecedented circumstances, and we still are. Yep, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There always was. But we're in unprecedented circumstances. So it's okay for you to actually, take yourself out of that energy instead of taking it on and saying, I totally respect you, but I'm not taking on this energy. Whereas before you would take it all on and just kind of sift through it, swim through it and have some fun. But because you're working a little bit differently and you're having to cut energies out of your life, you're feeling as though you're not as open as you used to be. And you're feeling as though, maybe I'm not as open as I used to be. I don't like that about myself. You're just protecting your energy. You are just as open as you need to be. You're doing what you need to do to come back into center. So call back elements of yourself that you've given away, your energy that you've given away, trying to be great and open, right? When actually what you need right now are some boundaries, because some of that energy is low density energy and you just need to be able to work through it. Again, no judgment. Everybody gets to needs to do whatever they need to do and play this out the way that they need to. It's really important that we give each other space to be able to do that without constantly have to comment on, people being right or wrong. Just let everybody be, but also make, personal choices for you. That doesn't work for me. I've got to put up my boundaries here. I've got to say no to this right now, but love and respect you. Go be you, and this will help you come back to who you are and stand your ground. So your soul's mission and your power is able to have allow this deep healing at a cellular level, to be able to allow this deep healing and to know who you truly are, and to also have this, because you have this beautiful, gorgeous energy, you are able to work in ways that people really don't understand, and they're probably most people, actually a lot of people now will probably understand it, but beforehand, a lot of people didn't understand you. Oh, I'm just going to go live here. I'm just going to go do this. I'm just going to do this my way. I'm just going to do this. A lot of people are like, how do you even survive? I mean, how does this even work for you? Your beautiful energy, your soul mission is to be really open and to teach people to stand in their own power and to choose accordingly, to live with their intuition and choose according to their intuition and not with their mind. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not saying that there's not a brilliant balance between the mind and heart. We need the divine feminine and the divine masculine to come in balance. But a lot of people work with their ego. A lot of people work with their mind, their practicality. You have a very practical sense to you. We don't want to, say quite wrongfully that you're this airy fairy, kind of like, let's just go with the wind. There's an element to you that is quite like that, and it's really nice. But you do come down to the practicality. You get things done. You move forward. You know what you need to do. But to some people, you've had this life where it's just, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Doesn't make a lot of sense on paper, but you're actually activated in this lifetime to be able to teach people how to do that. Too many people are stuck in, and now these elements of society are crumbling. I don't even know what these folks are going to do. You grow up, you do this, you go there for 3 years, you work here, you do that, you sit behind a desk. That ain't you. So to offer these different perspectives, to bring them in for people and to show people how beautiful your life can be when you just go off and do what you want to do. Again, with a practical element, but you also work very much with your guides. You know who you are, so you do land on your feet. And that's one thing, if somebody comes up to you and they know you quite well, or they've seen you in a certain way, in a certain light, and they say, oh man, I don't know how you live the way that you do, but I will say you do land on your own 2 feet in unexpected ways. You definitely do. That's because you are protected. Your way of living is absolutely revered, and it's not for the faint-hearted too. People, they stay at this and they stay at that because everybody has responsibilities, as do you, but it takes a lot of courage to be able to live sort of from the intuition. Now we're moving into that, and as we move into this new earth paradigm, more people, if not everybody, will be living in that way, because we're finding that the old ways that were, supposedly quote unquote secure are crumbling. So we're looking outside of the box now to live in that way. And people are finding themselves a lot healthier, feeling a lot better one way or another, even if, the switch was a little perplexed and a little bit stressful. So a lot of people are finding their way to on a practical level, earning a living online because of what's been going on in the last 15 months. A lot of people are finding different ways, finally, putting what they wanted to do for a living, because now's the time. They had to earn money, and, jobs were scarce and people lost their jobs and businesses. It's been terrible one way or another, and my heart goes out for everybody's been affected one way or another. However you've been affected, my heart goes out to you. On all levels. But this is a way that will be implemented. Yes, it came in a little bit over the last 15 months, but this is a way that you can do it. You can help people do that. So you're here to show how unique and how powerful each individual can be if they live from their heart existence and if they live from their intuition, and that it's not this woo-woo way of living. There's a certain amount of practicality that comes along with it. There's a line of not just protection but law of attraction, the way in which you work to visualize what you want coming in, this leveling up of living the life that you want. You're here to do that and demonstrate that in your own life. See what we have here. A win-win outcome is forecast, absolutely. And show the world the real you. This is you. Full moon in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius they're a strange bunch, but absolutely wonderful. They beat to their own drummer. They do what they want to do. They do things on their own terms. They can be a bit of a loner in one way or another. But, Age of Aquarius, we're moving into the Age of Aquarius. If you are Aquarius too, that's an extra boom for you. A wonderful sign, very, very independent sign, absolutely do things in their own way. So you're here to hold the truth for that and to show people how it's not only possible to live the life of your dreams, but how to do it step by step, one way or another. And part of that is just, being in the world and experiencing that and embodying that. But some of it is showing people how to live beyond any kind of labels or any kind of living within a box of what you feel as though you should be. So let's get you some tarot and get you some more information. So this is a really beautiful way to be in the world. Now, you've gone backwards and forwards with yourself too, for some of you. Sometimes you've lived practically too, where you've not, you also, I'm going to go in this direction and this feels right. And you do fall on your feet. And sometimes you're like, all right, I don't want to be woo-woo, because you consider that woo-woo. Sometimes I'm going to be ultra practical. And when you do it that way, things don't work out and you're absolutely miserable. So this is not a way in your life that you're even remotely able to do, even if you wanted to. You can't just do things for the sake of doing things. You're here to show people how pleasure and beauty and love can come into every decision. You can have the life that you want and still claim complete responsibility for your life and live a very, very successful life completely on your own terms. Absolutely. And again, we're all moving in that direction, but you've got this down already. Ace of Cups. Look at that. Ace of Cups. Absolutely amazing. The World. Hello. And what have we got here? Queen of Pentacles. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, your success rate is without a doubt. I mean, this is you out there, but it's also taking in that feminine energy of there's nothing, even when you go out there and do this, you don't suffer any fools. You know what you know, and you're open, but you don't, you let people be who they are, but at the same time, you know that this work and the level of existence that you have cultivated requires a certain amount of balance, and that balance is brought into balance by having these boundaries, and just doing what you need to do and having this this beautiful emotionality and allowing everything to come out and living in accordance with your emotionality. Now, in the past, real talk here, pile 3, because you're so sensitive, your emotionality, let's put this a little bit more balanced in the middle. Your emotionality may have overtaken you a little bit. And you could have felt a little bit overwhelmed with your emotionality, but you're working with your emotionality and you've integrated it a little bit. Now, the emotionality worked really well for you when you were overwhelmed, when you went into that real practical, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And sometimes that worked for you for a really, really small amount of time. I'm going to go into this job, I don't want to do it, but I have a certain amount of money, and then I'm going to grab this and I'm going to go off and do this afterwards. Now, if you've done this on a small amount of time, this has always been successful for you. But if you've decided, and sometimes, know, later on, or sometimes in certain parts of your life, you've not been able to do what you didn't want to do and you've been happy. But sometimes if there's a payoff that gives you the freedom at the payoff, that's been great, you know. But, you know, if you do go into this too really practical element where you're not listening to your heart, you're not listening to your soul mission, which is to be free and do whatever it is that you want to do and learn to work with attraction and bringing in what you need at that moment, then you would be overcome by emotionality, almost drawn down by it and overwhelmed by it, and you know, and this was a sign that you were off kilter. So this emotionality has worked in your favor to really be a guideline for you to figure out, so your barometer, you know, your compass to figure out when you've gone off, veer off, you know. And you do work within the extremes, sometimes going off this way and going off that way, as you've been learning how to integrate all aspects of self. Now, you don't really work in the extremes anymore now. You work very much in your heart. And we always say, and I've said on this channel very, very easily, you know, there's a really easy way to work just for the beginning. And this is the way that you live your life too. When you're asking yourself a question, ask your mind the question. The ego pops in right now. The ego is designed to keep you safe. It actually really doesn't tell you the truth. You know, and when people work from their ego, or they're filtering through an ego element of self, it's not necessarily the truth, right? So ask yourself a mindset from your mind. Your ego will tell you something. Now, the ego is not evil. It's trying to keep you safe, right? It's telling you things to try and keep you safe. So ask your mind and then clear that answer out, and then go into your heart and ask your heart. Your heart goes right into your intuition and never lies to you. Now, occasionally the heart and the mind actually see eye to eye and you get the same answer. That does happen. It's rather rare, but it does happen. But you know, if you're feeling a little bit of anxiety, you don't know what to do, ask your mind, clear the answer, and ask your heart. Your heart will always tell you the right answer, even if it seems a little woo-woo or a little out there. Your heart will always tell you the right answer, because there's no ego in that. It's getting right to your intuition. So this is the way that you have lived before, and this is what you're bringing to the forefront. And it really is your power and your gift to give to other people, to have a life like that, to bring in what you need to do. Now, some people occasionally have accused you, Pile 3, in the past, probably not around now, but have accused you of not working for things. Okay, you don't work for things. You know, I got that and I had to really work for it. You just walked in and got it. What the hell? You know, and you know, these could be people who are good friends of yours, and they don't mean it necessarily in a bad way, but they mean like, what the hell? The way in which you have your life and the way in which you live your life, when you live your life from the heart. Now, there's a practical, grounded, earthy element to you too. Otherwise, you hadn't had the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles here, you've got that earth energy grounded into that earth. That power is absolutely from that earth. So you absolutely know that without a shadow of a doubt. Don't need to worry about that. And you need to have that earth energy to implement working with the law of attraction and all of that energy coming in to attract whatever it is that you need. But people really think that, you know, you have to work a lot harder than you do. Now, you've worked hard all your life to learn how to do all of that stuff, and you've put yourself out into extreme circumstances, and, you know, not all of it's worked out, or you've done this, or you've done this, you know, in order to find out how your energy works within. You've done the work, you've gone within, and you've also been experimenting with the external, how it works in the external world with various different degrees, and that's part of how strong you are now. So now you can get the world and go out there, the Ace of Cups, by using that emotionality as your barometer, knowing who you are, getting a sense of people and the world, and creating this life for you with a certain amount of ease, right? That's not that you're not taking action, but you're taking deliberate action that comes very much from your integrated self, that comes very much from your intuition, which is absolutely gorgeous, right? So some people can say, you know, you didn't even work for that, or how the hell are you doing this? And this is what you're here to do. You're here to show people how to do this work. And a lot of it is integration of oneself and moving forward and really being responsible for your own energy. But some of it is being willing to either fall flat in your face, you know, being open to what the universe is offering you, and also being willing to offer up whatever it is that you think that you should get versus what the universe is willing to bestow upon you, which is always worlds apart. always much better than what you think you can get. Because even with your infinite amount of imagination, which you do, pile 3, you could never imagine the glorious life, not in full technicolor, that the universe is really willing to give you. So you're willing to give that up, your version of the world, to see what the universe will give you. And that is a certain personality in this lifetime. And you will be able to do that and teach people how to do that. And again, being really open to what you're doing, being open to your mission, understanding that you are here on a mission, on a soul mission, and living toward that mission, where people just living to survive. You're here to thrive and be in that mission. So let's see. No, we did that. These are the ones that we want for you. So this is a golden age for you moving in. And again, Queen of Pentacles, we've got the Ace of Cups, we've got the World. In common with pile 2, moving into the success. A lot of this work and integration has been done, ready to get out there. Don't get sidetracked by low energy or low frequencies. This is about you being a trailblazer and getting out there and doing things, again, exactly on your own terms. And honestly, it doesn't need to make sense to everybody. It really doesn't. Just go be you, which you're good at doing, and great things will come. Focus, you got that fire coming in there. Focus. Love, I think pile 2 got this too. And fragment. So yeah, you've gone through that fragment element that was already on this other side. You've gone through that fragment element of going through these ups and downs to see how your energy works. When you've gone off, veered off in that one direction to be practical. When you've maybe been too loosey-goosey and you're not grounded into your own energy and listening to source as much. So you've gone through that fragment energy, and we said going within, being fully responsible for every aspect of yourself, putting it all together, and being really grounded in this, but also that beautiful dichotomy between, you know, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, but of heaven and earth. You know, very much like we're here to do this, but very grounded in your element. We see that a lot where people are very like woo-woo about stuff. You know, and they go really into spirituality, but they're just not grounded into their life. So they're just often, you know, obsessed with ascension and this, that, and that. Ground yourself into, we're here to have a human experience in this 3D world. Yes, bring the 5D here, absolutely. But we're here to have a human experience. And there's a myriad of different things to experience. So much loss and pain and beauty and gorgeousness that you can only experience in the human realm. Why would you want to ascend outside of that? You can ascend a certain way and still include all of it. So bringing all those fragments together, coming together with this love and focus. Again, you guys are beautiful at this law of attraction thing. It's very visual. Most of you are very visual. When you bring it in, you know exactly what you're bringing in. You also know how it works when there's stuff that you don't want, and you know how to exclude that out of your life. So you'd be great people to teach people a new aspect of law of attraction. Now, you know, when you go into YouTube or anywhere else, there's a million different people teaching different aspects of law of attraction. Do we really need more of that? Well, the way in which you do it is actually really important. So yeah, you could be great at this, and just living your life could do this too. You don't actually have to set up a course or do a TED talk or anything like that, just being you. But bringing that love into everything that you do, loving every moment of your life and making decisions based on love, not out of practicality, or having a blending of two, bringing the practicality afterwards. All right, this is what I want to do. I love doing it, but you know, how do I ground this into the practical means? How do I move forward? You have that perfect balance of that, of the heaven and earth and the divine masculine, the divine feminine. So this is your gift to the world. This is the gift to yourself. Now, for a lot of you who have been working through the fragment element of self, and you've always had elements of this in your life, but you've been going backwards and forwards in the extreme of doing things that way and doing things this way. This new version of you, or this new way of moving, where you are balanced out and you get to really move forward in this way of not having to go to the extremes anymore. This is a really exciting time for you to be here, and this is exactly where you are with these cards, with the Queen of Pentacles, the World, and the Ace of Cups. So you're at this time in your life now where it's all balanced out to move spherically again in any direction that you want, but to have this beautiful incorporating life and to live life and have fun. We're here to have joy. God, you would not know the way that people are out there doing things right now, you know. Have joy. So much more comes to us through joy, not through fear, you know. But myself included, been motivated by fear for most of my life. I've only just come out of that, so I totally understand where people are coming from. But you're not motivated by fear, you're motivated by love, and this is what handles into your life. And it's a unique perspective, because not everybody lives like this, but when you come in and around people, people will feel it, and it's a different way of living, and it's a wonderful way of living. Triple spiral, listening to divine wisdom and joyfully learning life's lesson. That's what we just said. Absolutely. Joy being the element, love being the element, not fear. And then I think Paul 1 got this. When 3 rays of light, balancing male and female energy, peace and harmony. Exactly the 2 things that we just said. Just to drive it home to you, you've got the energy of male and feminine in there, and living life joyfully on your own terms, but being able to be grounded enough to bring it into fruition. Again, working with that law of attraction, with that beautiful gorgeousness that you have, with that vision, bringing it in, and just bringing in these crazy energies. You know, things fall into place, and taking that first step. I know it's going to fall into place. Everything will be fine. And it always is. Remember, a win-win outcome is forecast. So you've got that balance there in that full moon in Libra. So this is what we have for you, pile 3. We sincerely hope that resonated with you. We're sending you so much support exactly where you are in your beautiful life right now. Please stay safe and sane. Enjoy your beautiful life one moment at a time in complete joy, because we are here to have joy. And until we meet again, bye-bye.